One other myth that we need to talk about is the Tower of Babel. But even as absurdly silly as this story is, there's actually a kernel of truth to it, which makes all of this easier to understand. Babel is real. It's an abbreviation of Babylon. The tower is real too. Construction was begun by Hammurabi around 1750 BCE, but the project was never completed. Nebuchadnezzar resumed construction some 1,200 years later, but he couldn't finish it either. Now we know it as the Marduk Ziggurat because it was originally dedicated to the patron deity of the city of Babylon. Remember that the Mesopotamians invented the first syllabic text, and by Hammurabi's time they had formal classrooms teaching students how to read and write in cuneiform. That's how these ancient stories have survived intact for so long. But with the fall of the Mesopotamian Empire, the money was gone and the lifestyle changed. So construction of the Tower of Babel stopped and the schools closed. Just a couple generations later, and no one could read cuneiform anymore. This is the only truth to the fable of the Tower of Babel, that no one could understand written language anymore. Thus, the old stories were kept alive by regularly repeating an oral tradition for more than 1,000 years before some of these stories were eventually written down again by the Phoenicians. By that time, because these stories were no longer carved in stone, they had evolved, with many of them being blended together and adapted into the developing religion of Judaism, with exaggerations, enhancements, and embellishments irresistibly creeping in over so many generations, despite all intent to stay true. That's why the current version of Noah's Ark reads as it does. That's how we know that it is just a story, and that's just one more of many ways that we know that it isn't true.